Hi, welcome to today's session. In today's session, we will be looking at a valuation framework for spotting alpha token. This session is organized by the Next 100X, and this is for us to give you sound knowledge about the crypto space and how to navigate the Web3 space. And today we are starting with a valuation framework for spotting alpha tokens. And we'll be considering several factors because the space is getting very big and very vast. We have thousands of tokens, and then you're asking yourself, which should I go for? Which would give me the next 10x, the next 100x, the next 1000x? And now to spot those is just beyond you using sentimental analysis of who is rushing into the market or who is rushing out of the market. However, when you look into certain metrics that will be putting you through today on this session to understand what you need to spot out in order for you to see the alpha tokens or the tokens that will give you your desired returns. Please do note that this session is strictly for educational purpose and not investment recommendation. I hope you get value while watching this. Thank you very much. All right. So today we'll be looking at a valuation framework for spotting alpha tokens. Some of the things we'll be considering during this session is, why is crypto valuation important? 2, we will look at the valuation framework, which has to do with the product, which is the technology behind the project, also the ecosystem. And then we also look into the tokenomics, which is token allocation, token distribution, and then we'll talk about the supply of the token, which has to do with circulating supply, max supply, total supply, and market cap, also fully diluted market cap. So straight to the point now, why is crypto valuation important? Now, crypto valuation is important, like I said earlier, that is important so that we as investors or as crypto enthusiasts can be able to spot out valuable tokens with great potentials that would yield return. All right, it's important to carry out crypto valuation because there are several thousands of cryptocurrency or tokens now being created. Now the question of spotting the valid ones or the alpha ones among them is carrying out certain valuations, which is very, very important. So because it is these valuations that you would use that would indicate which is more valuable and which is less valuable, or which is bet out of a rug pulling system, or the ones that is built based on solving problems. And that is why crypto valuation is important. Now, when looking into a project, it's important to consider the technology behind the project. Now, when you ask yourself, today I'll be using a particular project as an example, which is the Kanto token. All right, I'll be using that as an example. Now you want to understand what is the technology behind the Kanto blockchain. All right, because it is very important that you look into what is actually the driving force behind this project. All right, and you can use CoinMarketCap as your go-to place to actually get what this project is about. All right, and what the project stands for. Okay, so the Kanto project, let's look at what we have on CoinMarketCap here. Okay, good. So a quick one here now. We can see here that the Kanto is an EVM compatible permissionless general purpose layer 1 blockchain. All right, now it says here that it focuses on DeFi and building a new system for accessible, transparent, decentralized, and free financial structure. Now you can go on and on and on and on in order to understand this project. So which means why valuing a token, you have to start with understanding what the project is about and what problem this project is looking to solve as well. You will see further, it says here that the Canto is a fork of Evmos, another highly scalable and high throughput blockchain running on a proof of stake consensus mechanism. Both are built in the Cosmos software development kit on top of the Tendermint, and a lot of grammar around it that way. So you want to understand what this project is about, because you cannot put your money in a project that you don't understand. You cannot get involved in a project that you don't know what problem they are solving, what technology is behind them. Another thing we are told to consider in the token valuation framework is the ecosystem. So back to Canto now, we get to discover that Canto is built on what? On Cosmos blockchain. Okay? From here we can see that it said Canto is a fork of Evmos, another highly scalable, high throughput blockchain running on proof of stake consensus mechanism. So we can see here that the Canto is built on what? On the Cosmos ecosystem. Now you want to look at it because the ecosystem where a project is built also command a lot of attention. You want to know if this ecosystem is strong enough, are they formidable enough, have there been successful projects being built on it. This is going to help you a lot because it will help you understand, if this project is safe to jump into. You don't want to invest in a project that is built on an ecosystem that is not strong or an ecosystem that is currently weak. As an investor who is looking to mitigate against risk, you want to focus on ecosystems that are recognized, ecosystems that are trustworthy, ecosystems that are healthy. All right, healthy in terms of successful projects that have been built on them, healthy in terms of the number of ecosystem participants, ecosystem involvement, the numbers of developers on the project, the amount of interest of developers on the project, and the amount of project being built on it. So when you look at all these things, the strength of the ecosystem is a very important metric to consider when valuing a token. So I've talked about you looking at the technology behind the project before you invest in it, before you consider it for investment. Number two, you are looking at the ecosystem it's being built on. All right, and then the next one from our content, from our table of content, is the token economics. All right, now you want to understand how is token economics being structured, token allocation and token distribution. What portion of the token is going to the team? So you look at something that I've written down here. Let me make it more bigger. This is like an example, right? So when you look through the white paper of the project that you are looking to get involved with, right? You want to ask yourself, what portion of the token goes to the team? What portion of the token goes to the VC? What portion of the token goes to the community? What portion of the token goes to development? What portion of the token goes to pre-sale, the public? All right. So these are the things, these are the factors you need to put into consideration. You don't want to invest in a project that say has 30% allocation to the team, or 25% allocation to the VC, or 20% allocation to the VC. These are way too much allocation. So you don't want to put you don't want to invest in a project that has too many supply of the token concentrated in the hand of few individuals. All right, because the goal of token allocation is to control the supply of the token. So you also want to look at how much of structure as the project put in place to control supply. Okay, because if there is too much supply in circulation, what happens? The price would fall. That brings us to the law of demand. The higher the supply, the lower the price. So you don't want to invest in a token whose supply is more than the demand. All right, so you are looking at a token with moderate allocation, fair allocation. All right, a project that has 5 to 10% allocation to the team is fair enough, and a project that has 5 to 10% allocation to the VC is also fair enough. Okay, so these are the core areas. Then you look at development fee. All right, development funds. Now, what is the what contribution as the project is the project willing to give back to the ecosystem, to grow the ecosystem? Because the development fee now is given to the kind of the likes of the developers who are building projects on the ecosystem, or trying to create more support or more usability of that token. So you need to look at this token allocation very well. What I've just put here is a fair token allocation that you should consider to look into. But token allocation that has a higher number of percentage allocated to the team or to the VC is a very big red flag. So we now go straight to the supply of token. Now this is going to be interesting because it's going to entail some few calculations, and I want you guys to pay attention. Okay, so we go to the valuation of crypto asset. Now, in valuing this crypto asset, there are many metrics out there, but for this session we'll be looking at price, market capitalization, and circulating supply. For price, we are representing price as P. For market capitalization, we are representing it as MC, and for circulating supply, we are representing it as CS. All right, and the token we are using for sample is Canto's token. Okay, now there's a formula that is used to calculate price in the financial market, and that is the market capitalization divided by the circulating supply. So these are the calculations and the formulas that we will be implementing in calculating our circulating supply and price. Now let's go to CoinMarketCap, where we find the Canto token. So we will copy the current market price, which is 0.452625. Okay, so let's reduce it to 11. Okay, then let's copy the circulating supply. Okay, so I will explain those to us now. Good. So the market cap, all right, it means that the total market value of a cryptocurrency circulating supply. Now, how is this being calculated? It is being gotten by multiplying the current market price times the circulating supply. Now, what is the circulating supply? The circulating supply is the total number of token that is currently in circulation, and in the public end as at the time of it being recorded. All right, that is the total number of tokens that is currently in circulation. Now, the total supply has to do with the total number of tokens that would ever exist. Okay, that would ever exist. So these are some of the key metrics we are going to look at in order to determine if a project would give you the 5x, the 2x, the 10x, the next 100x, as we have here, in any of the projects you are investing in. So we are using Canto as our case study. All right. So very important to note that this session is strictly for educational purpose and not an investment advice. We are teaching you this in order for you to personally be able to calculate and understand how to determine, future price of an asset using the current circulating supply and also the market capitalization. So here we have P, which is the price of Canto, and here we have the circulating supply of Canto. So we want to look at what is now the current market price. So which means the current market price would now be, we said the current market price will now be price times circulating supply. Okay, now which means current market capitalization will now be 191,605,431. All right, which is quite close to okay, looks like we have made a mistake. This is the circulating supply. Okay, the market cap. Yes, we are close. So this is 193 blah blah blah. Don't forget the price has increased a bit. So this was the price we copied it at. All right. So we have our market capitalization here. So market capitalization is circulating supply times price. So now that we have this established, now it's a question of what is the amount of funds that will be needed to flow into this ecosystem, all right, to be added to this market cap to actually influence the price. Now let's now give a scenario where a VC came in and invested 10 million dollars in the Cantos token. So let's say they invested $10 million in the Cantos token and they bought the token at $1, which is above the current market price. All right. Now, what would happen here? Which means these VCs now, they owed the amount invested divided by the price. So which means they owed 10 million worth of the Cantos token, like 10 million Cantos token. All right, is what they hold now. Now, don't forget the current price is this, but the VCs bought at a higher price. So which means there's some money from here flowing back into this market cap. Now, how did we know how much is flowing back into this market cap as an added value to the market cap? Let's subtract the price at which the VC bought. Okay, the price at which the VC bought minus the current price at the market. That is 0.55, right? So which means now the difference between the current price at the VC bought and the current market price is 0.55. All right. Now, what would now be the new additional market cap? All right, that will be added to the current market cap, to determine what the current price of Canto would be. So having 10 million been invested. So we now say this difference in the VC's price, the price at which they bought, and the current market price is now 0.55. Now this difference would now be times, that would be the difference times the Cantos token. All right, so which means the difference between the current price and the price at which the VC bought is $0.55. All right, times the number of tokens that the VC is now owed, which is 10 million tokens. Right, that will now give us 5.4 million. So $5.4 million have been added to the market cap. So now let's now see what the new market cap is, knowing fully well that 5.4 million has been added to the market cap. That's plus 5.4 million. So we have 197,000 being added, all right, to the market cap. Okay. Now, what would now be the current price? Don't forget, our circulating supply still remains the same, but our market cap now has now increased. So what will now be our current price? So our current price would now be our new market cap divided by our circulating supply. Okay, so which means the current price would now be 0.465. Okay, which means for price to increase to 0.465, 5.4 million must be added into the ecosystem. Okay, so that is how you are able to predict price movement. Now, this price increased because circulating supply still remains the same, which means new tokens were not added into the already circulating tokens. Because if new tokens were added to the already circulating tokens, okay, without a commemorating demand side, what would happen to price? Price would fall. So look at this place. I already stated the facts here. I said if market capitalization, which is MC, increases and the circulating supply remains constant, price increases. If the circulating supply increases and the market capitalization remains the same, okay, then price decreases. So which means that if demand is not actively in the market and this circulating supply increase, what will happen to price? Price will fall. Let's look at an example. So let's say the circulating supply now moved to 450 million. Okay, 450 million circulating supply. Now what would now be the current price? So we would now say the previous market cap divided by the new circulating supply. What do you think happened to price there? Okay, price has decreased. Why? Because we now have an increase in circulating supply, all right, without a corresponding increase in market cap. Okay, so which means there is less demand and more supply. So the higher the supply, the lower the price. So you want to, this should help you to know how and what token to get in on. Okay, because here you won't have once the circulating supply increases and there is no demand pushing there's no demand for the Cantos token to actually drive price up, and the market cap has little or no change, what would happen to price? Price will fall. Okay, price would fall. So now you also don't want to get in on a project that has almost reached its fully diluted market cap. So let's look at Cantos for example. Now you look at the market cap of Cantos here is 193,451,518. Now the fully diluted market cap is the total supply, which means the total number of tokens that will ever exist times the current price. So you look at it now, that gives us 456 million. All right, so you look at the difference, there is still much difference between them. So you can still get your 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x. All right, but the moment you have a token that it's already close to the fully diluted market cap, then you know it's not going to give you that much of a 10x or a 100x that you are looking for. So with the circulating supply of a token, you can use it to project the future price. With circulating supply and market cap, you can use to project the future price. So if a token, if a project raises fund, now you want to project that, you want to factor that into price, because if a project raises fund, then it's going to impact the price as well. So this is the goal of this session, to teach you how to calculate circulating supply and use it to determine the future price of a commodity or a token particularly. I hope you got value from this session. This session is by the next 100x, and our goal is to give you practical knowledge of the Web3 space, understanding how to make wise investment, understanding the how to navigate the Web3 space in general. And also I will encourage you to subscribe to our channel and be the first to get notified whenever a new video is uploaded or whenever we have an upcoming session. All right, please do well to drop a comment in the comment section, if you have any. Thank you very much for following us through this session, and I hope you got so much value. If there are any other metrics you want me to talk about, please do well to comment in the comment section and I will take it into consideration. Thank you very much.